What's going on YouTube? So when Hyundai refreshed the Elantra last year, we were quite impressed by the overall updates.
And it's time to take things up a notch because we've been spending the last 7 days with this high-performance Elantra in.
So is this one of the truest performance bargains on the market? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Let's go ahead and get things started with no place better than under the hood. So obviously the Elantra N is very special here because it has a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine making 276 horsepower. Now you compare that engine to either a 6-speed manual transmission, which is what we have, or you also have the option of an 8-speed dual clutch automatic. And then overall combined fuel economy for this model is 23 mpg.
Now you are not going to want to miss our test drive coming up later in this review. Also, in that test drive, we'll be discussing real-world fuel economy as well as getting our sound level reading. And then after that, we're going to discuss resale value and reliability.
But Hyundai has done a lot to distinguish the exterior as well as the interior from the more plebeian Elantra. So let's go ahead and get into that. Now, when you first walk up to the Elantra N, you're going to have little doubt in your mind that this is the high-performance Elantra. It really doesn't look all that much like the regular Elantra, especially here in the front, and it really gets a lot of attention over the last 7 days for sure. That begins, like I said, with the front-end design. Super aggressive. It's mostly just going to be grille at this point. So you've got a lot of black accents that are going all through here. You got the grille opening at the top, large grille opening at the bottom, special aero bits as well, to make sure you're getting maximum airflow into the engine itself. And you do have black Hyundai branding up here at the top. Now you've got a little silver accent that goes across through here. This is not a light bar, even though it kind of looks like it. And that goes into our LED daytime running light and turn signal indicator. The headlights themselves are going to be standard projector LEDs. There are no fog lamps available on the end. Now as we move to the rear, there obviously are going to be a lot of signs. This is the N model, just like with the front.
Yeah, one of those big signs is this spoiler up top. It's of course finished in a nice black color and raised off of the deck lid itself. And then Drew's going to go ahead and hop inside and we're going to check out the taillights and see if all the elements are LED. So as you can see, we do have an LED brake light portion, some LED accenting, incandescent reverse light, and incandescent turn signal indicator. So 1 out of 3 elements are LED. That's pretty good for something in this segment. As we drop down to this lower diffuser area though, this is where it really gets wild for in duty. Of course, all of this is new. You have your red trim through here, and you're also going to have an amazing exhaust system. This thing sounds way better than you'd expect.
Now when we come to the wheels, this is where you're going to see styling and performance enhancements. So these are exclusive 19-inch alloy wheels. Really nice design on board. Of course, what's important for performance though is that these have special high-performance tires. These are Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires for giving you maximum grip. Also, right here you're going to notice that we have 14.2-inch ventilated disc brakes with the special N branding. They're going to be finished in that signature kind of reddish orange, which is an accent color you're going to see all around the vehicle. Goes across the front fascia there. And as we move along the side, you'll notice right here, we do have the N branding inside of it as it runs down through there. The mirrors themselves, those will be finished in a full gloss black. We do have blind spot monitoring and heating on board, as well as an LED turn signal indicator.
Now at the side, we're coming in at an overall length of 185.4 inches, and as you would expect, it is still an Elantra after all, so when it comes to your safety systems, you are going to get the vast majority of those as standard equipment. Do be aware, though, that choosing the manual versus the automatic may affect that a little bit. But guys, there's a really, really cool cabin, so let's dive into that. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's go ahead and check out the interior. First, Here's our key fob. We do actually have a unique key fob for the N model here. It's a full black instead of a silver finish, as you can see, and it's got the N branding on it. The other thing I want to point out is that you have a blink button here where a remote start usually is. That's because when you choose the manual transmission model, you're not going to get remote start. Now, to get inside, of course, you do have the smart entry system. Just reach behind the handle, that will unlock the door. And then checking out the interior, that was not an intentional pun, but there are a lot of differences inside, just like with the exterior, and that really begins with the seats. So obviously, these are high-performance seats. Hyundai has made these seats to have very thick bolstering that's going to hold you in place. You have the illuminated N logo up there. This is like a one-piece setup here with the integrated headrest. Lots of color contrast stitching. You've got the leatherette trim on the outside edges, and then you have the micro suede inserts in the center to really hold you in place. The seats themselves are going to be manual, so you can adjust those with these controls right through there. And then you do also have your N scuff plate there, as well as your aluminum pedals and special floor mats. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And now that we're inside of the cabin, let's go ahead and look at the rest of the materials on board. Beginning with our door trim, you have a padded plastic across your entire armrest portion. Up here in the center section, this is going to be more of that micro suede. It does also have some perforation details running throughout it. It is going to be a hard touch plastic on top of the door trim. As we move up here, this is all a padded and textured soft touch plastic. You have this vent effect here, which actually has ambient lighting that runs all the way across it. As we move down, you'll come to your passenger handlebar on the end. This actually, makes sense, even though all the rest of the models also have that. And then you have finally a little bit of piano black down here around your shifter. But let's go ahead and fire it up. And now that we've fired it up, let's go ahead and get into some of the individual details. I do want to point out that we have reviewed the Elantra in the past, and most of the cabin elements are going to be very similar to the standard Elantra, but you do have special performance bits for the N model. We're going to kind of keep the focus mostly on that, but that being said, let's hop in. So up in the front, we've got the digital gauge cluster. This is the 10.25-inch gauge cluster. The graphics obviously are going to change depending on which drive mode you choose. This is what the in mode looks like. You're going to want to push that button probably every time you get inside of this vehicle. As we pull back to the steering wheel, really nice look on board. Beautiful leather wrapped design with the blacked out badging. Again, you have the special in buttons as well as the button here for downshift rev matching. And the wheel itself is manual, tilt, and telescoping. Now, as far as interior storage, probably not your biggest concern, but inside you're going to see that we have some donuts. 7 donuts to be exact. And of course, we like to do the donut test because we're checking the volume of the center console, and that is our emblem. Up in front of that, you've got your 2 cup holders, and then in the very front, nice wireless phone charging pad. Now, of course, here's one of the real nice details is the fact that we've got a 6-speed manual transmission on board. This is now the only way you can get a manual transmission in the Elantra lineup since it's no longer available on the N line. I'll pop it into reverse real fast. You'll see we do have a regular backup camera on board, and you also have your front and rear parking sensors. And then you have the traditional style hand brake. As far as our climate controls, these are going to be dual zone automatic climate controls. Very simple to use. You've got physical controls all through there. We also have heated seats, which is something I'm happy to see because obviously these are specialty performance seats, so it's good that they're still going to be heated so you can enjoy that during the winter time. Another creature comfort that you will enjoy is the fact that the N comes standard with the upgraded 8-speaker Bose sound system, and let's go ahead and give that a sample. Yeah, overall sound quality is pretty good. Although, at least in our week of having this Elantra in, we've been a lot more focused on the sounds of the engine than we have been on the audio system. All right, and then up here at our infotainment system, this is a 10.25-inch display. This is not the newest CCNC system. However, it does still have all the features that you'd probably expect to see, including a built-in navigation system. One thing I do want to point out is that Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are not wireless on this system yet, so you do have to use a traditional connection down below for those systems to work. And then you have a couple special menus. This button right there is what's going to give you access to all kinds of different performance things and allow you to customize many of the settings of the vehicle. Up above, manual dimming mirror. If you want a sunroof, you can actually get it on the Elantra N, but you've got to get the dual clutch automatic transmission model, so that might be a little bit of a trade-off depending on what you like, but if you get the manual, it's not going to have the sunroof.
Let's go ahead and check out the rear seat area before we go out on a spin. Now, I do want to just go ahead and mention your legroom and headroom figures. We're sitting at about 38 inches of legroom, about 37 inches of headroom. Those are really good figures, guys. That actually places it pretty much on par with something like a Hyundai Sonata, so it's really quite large. This is Drew's seating position. He's 5'8", and I'm 5'9", and we're sitting at about 8 inches of extra knee room, which is something we measure in all of our Car Confections reviews. My feet can slide up underneath the seat, and overall, I do find these rear seats to be quite comfortable. You once again have these suede inserts here in the middle. I do want to point out though that you are missing out on the armrest portion, so keep that in mind. You're not going to get an armrest in the N model. Now, no vents or anything. However, we do have 2 charging USB ports, which were added for the refresh last year. If you check out the rear door trim, it is going to be hard touch on the upper part and also hard touch where you're going to rest your arm. So wish Hyundai had really put a little bit more money in that and made that padded, but we do have some Alcantara inserts and a little bit of door storage down in the bottom. And walking up to the trunk area, if we just push that button, that's going to release it. It's not dampened, so keep that in mind. As far as the space, it's about 14.2 cubic feet as a maximum cargo capacity. That's one of the really good things about the Elantra N, is the fact that you can have all this performance, still keep all the sedan characteristics, so that's quite nice. Now, I do want to point out that your rear seats do fold, but they are going to fold in one single piece, and of course you can't stick big objects through there because you have that brace, which is special to the N model, so keep that in mind as well. No spare tire on this. As far as our cargo measurements, I will just go ahead and get the quick length figure because this is a Car Confections review after all, and we are sitting at about 40 inches of overall cargo length. As far as the opening, that is going to be about 37 inches wide, and height comes in at 21 inches tall. So decent practicality, that is for sure with this Elantra N. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Hyundai Elantra N. Of course, we're very excited to show you what this is all about. But, of course, in this test drive, we're going to be discussing other things, as you can see on the screen right now, including stuff like our sound level reading as well. But first, let's go ahead and get the oh-so-important hard acceleration. And there is up to 60 miles per hour in the Hyundai Elantra N. And I have to say, it just puts a smile on your face.
Oh yeah. So of course, like we talked about at the beginning, this has a special 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with 276 horsepower, 289 pound-feet of torque. Those are very good power figures. And honestly, a turbo 4-cylinder has no business sounding as good as this one does.
I agree. I think this is one of the best sounding turbo 4-cylinders, not even factoring in for the money. I think this is just one of the best sounding turbo 4s that you can buy, period. It sounds so good, and as you'll see later on in this drive, it even gives like some theatrics and has some pops and crackles, which I am just a huge fan of. You hear the pops?
Yeah.
Yes. This thing sounds so good.
Sounds ferocious.
It's absolutely intoxicating. And, you know, one of the things that I just want to point out is that most of this vehicle's main competition, I'd say, would maybe like the Honda Civic Type R, that type of thing. It does not sound as good as this. So that's definitely a big benefit for this Elantra N. If you like the sound and the theatrics to go along with it, this might be your best choice. Now, also to go along with that amazing sounding engine, we have a 6-speed manual transmission as an available option here on the Elantra N. That's actually where it comes standard. So the cheaper price model will be the manual transmission. You can also get the dual clutch automatic, though, which is another thing that is different than some of the competition as well. The fact that you have both the manual and automatic options. So I guess if you don't want to row your own, you can choose for that 8-speed dual clutch.
Right, and we think this is a good manual transmission. It's quite enjoyable. Throws are a little bit longer than what you get in the Civic Type R, a little less clicky, but overall the clutch and stuff is pretty easy to work. But like we were saying, you know, I know a lot of people, just because you want to buy one of these performance, you know, small cars, doesn't mean that you necessarily want to always shift on your own. So I think it is good that Hyundai does have that dual clutch option, and that's probably a big reason a lot of people maybe choose the Elantra N over, say, something like the Civic Type R.
I also like that it has the downshift rev matching, as you just saw right there. And finally that truck turned off from in front of us, so we could actually have a little bit of fun in this Elantra N, and fun we will have, that is for sure. So as we head around some corners here, I just want to take a second to talk about overall driving dynamics when it comes to this vehicle. The Elantra N, of course, is no regular Elantra. They have done so much with the suspension, bracing, and all of that to really just make a very capable performance package here. As we go around some corners, you really just see it stays super flat. The steering has a lot of nice feel to it, a lot of heft as well. Overall, after living with it for the past 7 days, I have to say it's just nothing but a joy to drive, that's for sure.
Yeah, this thing rips. Sure.
Yeah, this is definitely a vehicle that you can drive daily and not, you know, feel like you're making a huge compromise. Is it going to be the smoothest riding vehicle? Absolutely not. But overall, in combination with the suspension, these seats, I think it's definitely something that you can live with on the daily and not feel like you're compromising too much. The popping, I don't know if you'll be able to hear on camera, but it is just really so loud.
It's echoing off this rock wall next to us, which is fantastic. Now, of course, this puts power down like crazy, and you almost forget that this is not an all-wheel drive model. This is front-wheel drive, but it does have a limited slip diff up in the front, of course, and it really works magic with this model. It, like I said, it just puts power down. Between this and the high performance tires, I mean, it just really is ready to go at all times. Torque steer is basically non-existent.
Yeah. Just and the bite on the initial turn in is just so good. You definitely always know exactly where the wheels are placed.
And Mason did get the opportunity to drive this on a racetrack a couple years ago. So you could really push the performance to the maximum, and it holds up so well even under those types of circumstances. Now, I do want to go ahead and mention fuel economy real fast here. If you choose the dual clutch automatic model, that's going to get you 24 miles per gallon combined. Here with the manual, you're a little behind that, coming in at 23 mpg combined. Now, as far as the fuel economy we've been getting this week, we just pulled it up. We have literally just at this second hit 180 miles of driving with this Elantra N, and we're setting at 21.1 miles per gallon. Obviously, that is less than the EPA estimate, but really not far off. And as you may expect, we've been driving pretty hard, or I'm sure that's how most people drive. But
Yeah.
I don't think the EPA is really counts
for normal driving
like
habits. But I have to say that's not bad fuel economy, especially for having a fun week. Getting 21 miles per gallon combined is certainly not bad at all.
All right, we're in 6th gear. We're gonna go ahead and get a sound level reading. All right, 58.2 was what we got at 55 miles per hour with this Elantra in. Obviously, not the biggest focus. Actually, one of the things that people love the most about this product is how loud it is. But if you put it in 6th gear, put it in normal mode,
Right.
it's not bad at all. If you're wondering about drone or things like that, I'm really impressed that they've been able to keep it very quiet when you're on the highway, and then let you unleash all that sound when you're on a back road.
That's for sure.
Which is actually going to tie in closely to today's Slam Dunk and Airball.
Yeah.
So the Slam Dunk is going to be performance, also the sound for the money. The money factor, when you put that into play with this, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but it's really unbelievable what you get for the money.
Yeah. Now, on the Airball side of things, it's really hard to find something when you're just having so much fun, but this Elantra and stuff that we've noticed over the past week is some of the materials inside of this cabin are a little bit on the cheaper side, for sure, if you look at some of the rivals. Also, some of the stuff just
this
creaks
console,
and
this
like all of this
thing is really
creaks.
creaky.
So when you're taking it on a back road and having some fun, expect to hear as you go through the corners, that's for sure.
And lastly here, I'll go ahead and mention Hyundai's warranty: 5-year, 60,000 mile basic, 10-year, 100,000 miles on your powertrain, and then you also have 3 years of complimentary maintenance.
And let's talk pricing for this Elantra in. Now, we're going to start at around $34,000 for this manual transmission model. So that's a really good deal, in my opinion, for the performance you're getting. The DCT model will add quite a bit additional money to that. Not too bad, though, but do keep in mind you're even getting extra features like that moonroof, so that makes up for that a little bit. Now, if you're looking to buy an Elantra in or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But now let's go ahead and talk about resale and reliability. And now it's time for us to talk about potential resale value and reliability to make sure you're making a smart purchase. Now, as an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Hyundai Elantra's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth around 55.3% of its original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000, 19.6%. That's going to be above industry average. However, it is going to be less than some of the Japanese automakers like Toyota and Honda. And I do also want to point out that performance vehicles and more rare vehicles like this do tend to hold their value a little bit higher than that percentage.
Now, we've also done the same for combined reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them to paint a more holistic picture. In this regard, Hyundai is rated a few slots below the industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale value and reliability information, be sure to head to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a car is a big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to wrap up our 7-day review of this 2025 Hyundai Elantra in. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to be a part of our Car Confections family, you're also going to have a lot of fun. This was a fun review, wasn't it? So be sure to do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.